So, for example, let me give illustrations. There are some men who go maybe after a woman has put to bed, like, why are you so fat? Like, are you? And so I've heard stories where men even go outrightly to compare. Okay's wife just gave birth. That woman has lost weight. She's already. What's wrong with you? And you look at you can't even. So what do you really have to say about that?
Okay, so I think first of all, your wife is a unique person, a unique personality. Women are not the same. I say this all the time. A woman's body is different. Women are different. There are women that, there are a lot of things that takes place in our body. Genetics, hormones, these things influences the way our body responds to things. So, first of all, avoid comparison. Your wife is your wife. See her alone, like, this is my wife. Whatever thing she's going through, know that you need to be there to assist. Then, secondly, affirmation. I think men should learn to always affirm their wives, not just when she's looking prim and proper,
but even
when she sometimes the way you, even before she had a child for you, the way you call her, the way you hug her without her requesting, the way you just give her a peck, those things should continue. So I think that reaffirmation helps her self-esteem.
It does.
And when it helps her self-esteem, she shines.
They get transformed by the renewing of your minds. Welcome to Moments with the Queen.
So so I mentioned something earlier. I spoke about the whole idea of some health sectors, especially during family planning, not really having something like a health history. And I also mentioned that I had, I was pregnant for my second child and we lost him. Now, what even happened, I want to just talk about that a bit. So anybody, if you're listening and you're a mother and you want to make this healthcare choice or healthcare decisions, you know what to do. First of all, I am really praying that we get to that point in Africa where health is not a luxury, where our government, I know there is the NHIS scheme that is in Nigeria, and I think in Abuja there's one that's called FHIS. I wish that there is a lot more enlightenment as regards this kind of schemes, so that we know, people, the layman knows what they can do to have access to good health care. Because when we're talking about maternal health care, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
We spoke about understanding your body, the role of the man. But what about the role of the healthcare workers? Let me ask you, how was your antenatal session like?
Well, I would even say it was below average. Now, the truth is, I made use of a government facility. I didn't go to a private hospital. It was a government hospital, and a federal government hospital, to be precise. And there were good parts I had good experiences. For instance, the theater was well equipped.
Yeah.
They had good surgeons. They had good doctors. They had nurses that had empathy.
Oh, such a blessing.
Yeah. But when it comes to during the antenatal, I realized that they were just doing it on a cruise mode. Is there anything like, let me just, when they're just repeating. And this, we are talking about 2022. You can't be doing the same antenatal you've been doing, using the same module, the same style, the same. You see them, they are even relaxed. You can take your Coke. You can eat buns. You're not seeing that professionalism. That's what I'm trying to say.
That.
More so, they are not seeing us as unique individuals.
Everybody's bandwagon.
So they are talking to us.
Maybe there are some hospitals that do differently, right? And if you have experienced it, well, wow, this is actually a personal experience, and so I'm not saying that this is the standard.
Yeah.
But mine is very similar to what she's saying. So please go ahead.
Yeah, so when you treat everybody as the same, I remember when they have to check you, they were using one manual or something to check how many weeks your baby is, and you can see it even contradicts with what the scan saying. So now that problem is not the hospital problem, because like I said, there were other areas of that hospital that did excellently well. It's the midwives. Not midwife. What do I call it?
Oh, okay, the nurses.
The nurses in charge of.
But don't you think that they were just making use of what they were given?
Well, maybe they were making use of what they were given. At the same time, they were just doing it as I think they were
heart.
no heart.
There was no heart.
In fact, they were doing it as though antenatal. There are some days you might even want to miss your antenatal and not feel bad. So they were doing it as if antenatal is just it's just about routine drugs. Just come and pick your drugs, but it's beyond routine drugs. You understand?
There are deeper issues that should be addressed. There are deeper issues that should be addressed.
So I think they should be well informed, and they should be up to date with changes
and trends.
I think I asked a question during one of the antenatal, and they were like, you are thinking too much. Just pray that your baby will be normal. Can you imagine?
I'm sorry. You know you're thinking too much. I must say this. I don't know why Africa, let me not say Africa, but Nigeria has a way of making, if you are a person who likes excellence, they have a way sometimes of making you feel bad or terrible for it. And that's supposed to be the regular and normal way of life. This thing you're saying, do you know, so a friend of mine who gave birth in another hospital, she said she realized that they are supposed to lubricate those gloves that they used to check how dilated the woman. Me, I never experienced that too. They literally shook hand with the gloves on without lubricating it and put it inside my body. And you see, the first time that happened, I took it because I was like, I will just call it JJC. But you see, the second time, because first of all, I wasn't even feeling so good. So, I mean, I went into preterm labor, and they were trying to stop the labor, only for me to start feeling severe pains after we thought that the labor had stopped. And then the nurse on duty that night, because it was at night, had to check me. The way that lady put her hand into my body, I can never forget it. I told her to take her hand out. And she was like, Madam, you better, because it happens a lot. They start to blackmail you. If you be better put your body down, if not, I will not touch you. I said, don't touch me. No, I meant it. I don't know. At that point in my life, I was like, in fact, I had to shout. I was like, Jesus, don't forsake me, because if it's for me to give birth to this child here, I will rather stay and do, because I mean, and it was not until I shouted like that she now calmed down. She was like, I'm not the one that's supposed to be checking you. Why didn't you tell your doctor that you are still feeling pain? As if I knew that I was going to give. If I knew I was going to give birth that night, don't you think maybe I would have been better prepared or something? So there's a fact whereby I think the human person comes in. A lot of people are still very much absorbed in themselves, because like that lady now, I wouldn't say she was a bad person, because later on said she was even the one congratulating me and all that. But it was just that in that immediate, she was probably already like angry. Now I have to go and do this.
Lack of empathy.
Exactly. And so she was just until like I told myself, no, you won't do that to me. You won't. So I also would say this, that don't allow anybody to blackmail you. Don't be shy. They did it to my first child. I did my antenatal in a government hospital, and I stopped because it got to a point whereby I just saw that these people did not put humanity at fault. I won't even treat my enemy like that. Like, you see that a lady is pregnant, you treat her like she's nothing, basically because you are so used to these things. There are some hospitals that you go to, some government hospitals that you go to, and you can be telling them, my baby is coming. They'll be like, Madam, your baby is coming, and you are talking like that. In fact, it even happened to me during my second pregnancy. I had dilated 8 cm, and because it was late at night and a couple of people were in labor, and it was a government hospital, and I had to go there because of the whole prenatal situation. That was like the hospital that I could give me a neonatal facility. And it was a good hospital, good doctors and all that. So imagine me in my pain, and I said, Madam, your own is 8 cm. This one so is 10 cm. Oh, yeah, leave the bed, leave the bed. Oh, yeah, leave the bed. Oh, my God.
So
see,
sad.
Yeah, I'm laughing at this because I can't cry. So I literally just carried myself. So for me, I think my second pregnancy was just me and God. I was just where I was just talking to God, because I'm like, if I follow these people, I would just, and for somebody like me that I'm so big on how you treat a person, like I'm so big on it. Like I cannot take, some people say, I was so big. Somebody has to say thank you, Pele. And it's a big deal for me, So what I'm just going to ask, do you think that there's anything that, if there's a healthcare worker listening to this, do you think there's anything that they can do better? Yes, we understand that Nigerian hospitals might be short-staffed. We understand that some hospitals in Africa might be short-staffed, and, you know, work is a lot. There is so much that is going on with healthcare professionals and all that. But is there anything little that maybe if they even shift their thought pattern around it, it can make at least women going through the whole journey of motherhood, you can give them a warm welcome rather than that rude shock that makes them feel like, I don't want to go through this again.
Okay, so you're saying, is there anything that the government
Health professionals
like
the doctors, nurses?
Yes, I think there are some things that is within their own ability to do. There's a phrase in America. They say Americans wake up in the morning, right? And the first thought is, what can I do for America? Not what will America do for me. So even, I know we are going through a very trying situation as a country, right? But we are not the first country to be going through trials.
True that.
There was a time abroad, I think America, they had what they call the Great Depression, right? So we have to not just think of what governments can do, and also look at what can we do. There are some things our health professionals can do that they don't even need to spend so much money on. Little things as empathy.
I'm telling you.
And that's why knowing that, and then seeing what you are doing as a purpose, as a calling. I tell people, I talk to teenagers a lot, and then I was trying to redefine purpose to them, and I told them that purpose, especially when it comes to God's purpose, is not always about pulpit ministry. There are times where God will call you into, God can call you into medicine, into science, into business, into just a vocation, right? So if you have a sense of purpose, I think you will behave differently.
Yeah.
You behave differently. You'll be more empathetic. You'll be thinking of what can I do just in your own corner. There was a hospital I went to with my baby, and the pediatrician that attended to him was so amazing. And it's not because it's some special hospital, but because he sees it as a calling. You could see the way they were so intentional. When you get into that ward, you know it's for children. The kind of biro the doctor was holding, something friendly. The way he, entertained the children.
So good
the
to
way,
hear.
In this country.
So good to
And
hear.
it wasn't one special big name hospital. So I think seeing what you are doing as a purpose, as a calling, is very important, because it helps, feel empathy. And I think that's a good place to start. That's a good place to start.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for these very insightful contributions. Thank you. Do you think that men have a role to play as to how a woman gets to actually accept her body during pregnancy?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think they could do? Maybe differently, or what action or inaction? So, for example, let me give illustrations. There are some men who go, maybe after a woman has put to bed, like, why are you so fat? Like, are you? And so I've heard stories where men even go outrightly to compare. Okay's wife just gave birth. That woman has lost weight. She's already, what's wrong with you? And you look at you, can't even, So what do you really have to say about that?
Okay, so I think, first of all, your wife is a unique person, a unique personality. Women are not the same. I say this all the time. A woman's body is different. Women are different. There are women that, there are a lot of things that takes place in our body. Genetics, hormones, these things influences the way our body responds to things. So, first of all, avoid comparison. Your wife is your wife. See her alone, like, this is my wife. Whatever thing she's going through, know that you need to be there to assist. Then, secondly, affirmation. I think men should learn to always affirm their wives, not just when she's looking prim and proper,
but even
when she sometimes, the way you, even before she had a child for you, the way you call her, the way you hug her without her requesting, the way you just give her a peck, those things should continue. So I think that reaffirmation helps her self-esteem.
It does.
And when it helps her self-esteem, she shines. Yeah, it helps her shine.
Okay, so something is coming to my heart that I'm going to still see how I can merge this into this conversation of motherhood. But you see, I want to just put it out there that the possibility of a woman losing herself after marriage is very high.
Yeah.
Now, you see this God factor we talk about. This God factor we talk about is actually beyond religion. I think it was Princess. She said in the last episode that your husband will not satisfy everything. I don't know if it was how on Nomzi, but your husband won't. That's the truth. Now, I'm saying this baseline in case maybe there's a woman listening here and you've not heard you are beautiful. I'm going to address it I will try and see how I can talk around holistically. But I just want to put this out there that you see that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. You have to learn how to drink it like food. And you have to believe it for yourself. Do you want to add something?
Like a pill.
Like a pill.
It's a daily thing.
You have to psych yourself and believe it.
Yeah.
If you know, and I mean, I remember when I was pregnant for my first son, I intentionally told my husband, I want to buy makeup. I know that some of these ladies things, it's not everything that makes sense to the guys and all the time, but for me it was that I don't want to show up the way I'm feeling because pregnancy comes with a whole lot. You can, like you can almost feel like your body is not your body. Yeah. And like, it's unique to every woman. So maybe as I'm speaking, there's a lady that was pregnant. I said, my first pregnancy was cruise. By the way, when I say second pregnancy, but I have just one son. I actually, I was pregnant full term. We had my second child, but then we lost him. So in case you're hearing first pregnancy, second pregnancy. But my first pregnancy came with, I literally cruised through. But you see my second one, I saw shakes. I saw, my eyes saw something. So why am I saying this? The truth of the matter is that men, you have a huge role to play. In fact, the truth of the matter is that even sometimes you'll be telling your wife you are beautiful. She says she don't even believe you.
Yes.
No, walai.
Very true.
She doesn't even believe you. Because she's like me. I know how I was before I got married. I was like a palanga. Even though my friends still say today that you look so beautiful. In fact, it's now you look like you might, well, bonga fish, kiniko. But if there's one of the things I used to really like about myself when I was single, is that my palanga body. I know it's funny, but that's my own reality. So imagine now moving from that model that if you look at yourself like, flat on me, Jesus, and you now realize that you are moving from a size 8 to a size 10. Now, okay, they say it's not that bad. So I'm thinking that, and doesn't mean that somebody that moves from a size 8 to a size 12, because I saw one thing that trended when somebody was like, how is your wife looking so like this? You need to learn how to shut up in another person's matter. No, it's not everything that you see that you open your mouth to talk. Especially, some ladies are so quick. Women, you need to, you've not been there, you are giving counsel. You need to learn how to take care of yourself. Do you know that there are ladies that get, maybe because of family planning, maybe because of what method that they are using, hormones literally blow up. And a woman is moving from a size 8 to size 888. And you see some husbands that still guilt trip them that they are not doing enough. That's wickedness. Because really, truly, in fact, there are sometimes, especially with motherhood, I know a friend, a dear friend, who experienced childbirth and then she was paralyzed at one part of her body. Yeah. I've seen a lady who said she had vertigo after delivery. Oh my. Me, self, that I'm speaking to you, there are certain body changes that happened to me. I remember one time I even had to go for scans to say, doctor, please, what is this? Yeah. Doctor said, a lot of things come with pregnancy. I'm like, what is this? So now imagine that a woman is going through all this. And by the way, why you're doing this, sometimes some people are not even sensitive. That's why in this life, husbands, even if you don't want to be plenty things, please try and be sensitive. Yeah. But that's when you see some men that are shouting, you did not cook, you have not eaten. When there are some men that when their wives are pregnant, throughout the season of pregnancy, they are cooking for their wives. They are going to the market for the woman. They've put somebody in the house. What do you need? Yeah. Because you need to make her life easy. I'm not saying that
If you
Men
can't
don't
have,
go through
yeah,
ordeals
ordeals,
during
yeah.
pregnancy. Because I mean, even a man too, when his wife is pregnant, there are changes that he also experiences as well. We might not have a man on this
Yeah.
podcast right now, but really there are changes that men
Yes,
also
yes,
experience.
very true.
So you were going to say something that even they might not have a finance in terms of
Yes, in terms of maybe
getting help
a
or
help when, but there are some things they can also do. We are not saying they should do everything, but there are
but be
things they can be
supportive.
hands-on.
Be supportive.
Yeah.
You see this thing about and don't be lazy as a man. Don't be. You know, some men have been psyched to believe that women are superheroes. So even though you are
Yes.
pregnant, it's your job.
It's a job.
That's
yeah.
wickedness. Because that journey of pregnancy, it's really, truly is not easy. I know then when my pastor used to say, when he was in the labor room with his wife, after he came out, that he was no longer the same person. He said his life changed. You know, so the experience is different for different folks.
Yes.
But you know what? Let's even talk about it. What was childbirthing experience? How was it for you?
Well, it was okay. So first of all, of course, you know, every woman you want to have that. I was looking forward to
Oh.
the experience. You understand?
Like in terms of
Exactly.
going through labor room.
Go through the labor room and all this stuff. So I was looking forward to it. Actually, my pregnancy was a beautiful one. I didn't have complications. There were no complications. Just the normal pregnancy
Just
signs
normal
due
pregnancy.
to hormonal changes and everything. So when I was approaching my EDD, I realized that baby wasn't really engaging. Baby had turned, but he wasn't engaged. You know, there's something they call engaged and everything. So I was okay. I waited. I waited for 1 more week. Nothing happened. So I went to the hospital. So I got to the hospital. The doctor advised that the baby's head is quite large, and I think my pelvic bone didn't separate as much as it should. So baby cannot insert his head into the pelvic bone. So there's nothing they can do about it. He said, in fact, if ignorantly they administered, what do they call it?
Like when you're trying to, I've forgotten the name, but like you're trying to induce
the pregnancy, exactly.
Induce labor.
Induce labor. That the baby can rupture the womb and there will be more complications and everything. So thank God we listened to counsel. And let me put that out there. Please listen to counsel. I know we have a lot of doctors who are just out there to make money, but we still have good doctors. True. So please listen to professional counsel. So it was the counsel that helped us. So we booked for surgery.
Yeah.
So yeah, the surgery, we thank God it went well.
Seamlessly.
It was seamless. Yeah, it was seamless. So although there was still this little after pain that comes with surgery and everything. And yeah, I think.
Was there anything that helped your healing process? Was there anything that helped to speed up your healing process?
Yes. First of all, I'm going to bring God into this because I can't even separate pregnancy journey and God. First of all, God really helped. There was this book I read, Supernatural Childbirth. That book was powerful. So I had written out scriptures, and I was trusting God that irrespective of the process, irrespective of the route that we are going to take, maybe CS or
normal delivery,
vaginal delivery or something. So I was trusting God that I was going to have a painless procedure. And I think I experienced it.
Wow.
I experienced it because I hear people say, there's a pain that comes after CS, this and that.
What a blessing.
But I didn't have that. And thank God for support, family support, having time to rest. Because, of course, after surgery, you shouldn't be found doing lots of things. I think it's in that doing a lot of things that you begin to feel more pain. But if you have time to rest, it helps the healing process.
True. Okay. That was actually a lot. So for me, at my own end, I think I experienced the other side. I have never experienced CS. The 2 deliveries I had were actually via vaginal birth, and I don't know, but I don't even think there's I don't think there's anybody that can do justice to really explaining what the process is like. But I also think it's different for different folks. There's never a one size fits all, but it's pretty intense. I think if there's anything that I know that I know I told God about my, like when I had my first child, I was like, God, you should have made me know now so that my prayer would be, let me dilate fast. Because I think what happened was I dilated, I got to 8 cm. It was not to pray for 8 cm to get to 10 cm. Oh, Jesus, Lord, 2 cm has to come. Well, I bless God because at the end of the day, so when I calculated how long I even spent in the labor ward, pretty much God came through for me. I didn't spend a long time. But you see that's the whole process, the pain and everything. It's only Jesus that can help somebody to go through it too. If there's, in fact, if you don't believe in Jesus during that labor ward, that's the day you will know that you don't.
Yeah.
Because whatever you believe in, whatever you think has strengthened you at that season, you will call on to it.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
You just find yourself, how they say, drowning man will clutch at his straw. You're like, Jesus, please, this is not. And then I think if there is anything that stood out for me in this process that I think I want to say to anybody who, and this is not to scare you, it's different for everybody. I've seen people, if you read Supernatural Childbirth, there are people who said they had seamless labor.
Yeah.
So people have it, right? But I think one thing that I'm actually going to say about that labor ward experience is that you should arm yourself in faith, because that's one place, whether you are doing it through CS or you're doing it through vagina, where Satan comes to want to snatch a woman's life. I tell you the truth. So you must arm yourself with scriptures like I cannot die. You have to be equipped to know that this thing, I'm going through it and I'm coming out victorious.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. Don't give room for all right, you will come out, you will be a mother with a sound baby.
Yeah.
You take care of your child and your child is going to grow up, So, has there been any parenting tricks that you've learned? Something that has stood out for you so far that when you look at your son, you just feel like, hi, I love the boy, the man that this boy is becoming, even though he's still a small boy, but you just feel like, okay, this thing is paying off, or there's something you see your child manifest and you just feel like, I think this might have had a role to play. Is there anything of that sort?
Yeah, there's a couple of things.
Okay.
So I'll just mention a few. I think one is allowing your child to express themselves. Allowing your child to express themselves. Because me, I'm introverted, right? But I gave birth to a child who is an extrovert. So I'm the kind of person who, I don't really love visitors coming around. I want to have my space. I just want to I get energized being alone. You understand? So I have friends, of course, I go out, but it's from my own.
Yeah, I get it.
From my will and everything. So having a child who, and it's so funny that even from birth, from when they are really small, you begin to know the nature of a child.
Yeah.
And I think this is something I want parents to pay attention to. A child that is going to be stingy, you don't know it when that child is 12. You know it when that child is as little as 2 years old.
Okay.
A child that is going to be temperamental. There are some things that, because this thing is gene, we are talking of genetics. You as a parent, you must have worked on maybe your traits, but you passed on a gene. Maybe you used to be temperamental, and then you've worked on it.
I agree.
You've worked on yourself. You're no longer stingy. You've studied the word. The word has transformed you. That child is coming as a raw.
Yes.
How do I put it?
I get like
Exactly.
a raw material.
A raw
This is him. This is raw form
This is
now.
raw form. So you have to pay attention. You have to model the child, and also speak what you want, to be expressed in that child. In fact, I even advise parents to start speaking to their child right from when that child is in the womb.
Amazing.
There was something I was saying about my child. I said, human DNA is filled with many frailties, many weaknesses, I said, you have the DNA of God. These are things, it might sound crazy.
We do actually have the DNA of God.
But it's not crazy.
It's not.
It's not. It's the truth.
It is.
So you begin to speak what you want to see in that child. Okay, there was a story. Let me just share the story. When I was a child, amongst my siblings, I'm the fairest. My parents are not fair. So my mom told me a story that when she was pregnant with me, my dad kept saying he wants a fair baby. He wants a fair baby. So he said he will rub her stomach and say, this baby will be fair. This baby will be fair. And I turned out to be the fair person. If I mean people see me and my siblings, they will say, why are you so different from your
I
siblings?
can imagine.
You know,
And
it's just
even
that
mom
thank
sees so
God,
dark.
yes. And thank God at least I have my dad's, if not, they would have said maybe it's another father, that kind of thing. So that alone made me know that words are powerful. So when you see a child exhibiting some traits, maybe stinginess, while you are trying to teach that child, you can also start prophesying to that child's life.
You are a giver.
Oh, you're a giver. You are kind. As you are betting the child, you're a kind boy. You love the Lord. You're a giver. You say what you want to see in your child. So I think, and then let that child be. We're talking about things that I learned that, you know, that has brought changes. For instance, I realized that my son is a hands-on person. He loves to do things by himself. Yeah. And you know, there's something with being a parent, especially when you have little ones. You want to quickly rush to help them. Maybe he's trying to put on his pants. You want to help him. But I realized that letting him is learning independence early.
True.
He's learning hard work early. It's going to be a part of him. You know, most people who are lazy today as adults, sometimes it's not their fault.
It's that they were allowed.
They were allowed. And so
somebody condoned it.
Exactly. Somebody said, it's not easy to bend a dried fish. When it's dry, it will break. So it's not easy to change. An adult is not malleable, but a child can still be formed.
Wow.
So I think these are things that maybe our parents made mistakes or anything. So we have to be the ones to change the narrative. So that's when I notice is someone that is hands-on. I allow him. It might not, of course, he won't do it well. It's just two, but at least he will do something. He will try and put on his pants. Maybe 2 legs are inside one, but I will allow him do it before I now show him the right things to do. The right way to go about it.
Wow, so I have learned. I've been blessed by this. By everything that she has said. So just to pick up and emphasize something she said about her father speaking to her and then she being a fair child. I think it happened with my younger brother because the age gap between myself and my younger brother is like really wild because my dad traveled and was in the country for a while. So around that period, my mom, there's one of my great grandmothers that she's half caste. So her hair is like really long and fine. And every time my mother would be saying, my child is going to carry this hair. She thought she was going to be having a girl. My child is going to carry this hair. And you know, my brother, because I saw him which day and I saw his hair. He still has this hair that looks like Fulani people's hair.
Wow.
Very fine hair. Like every time I look, and that's how when he came, his hair was looking so full, like a lady's hair, coily, like he was not Nigerian. And I just kept on looking and like, is this how there is power in the tongue? Like, you know, so yes, I totally agree. I completely agree. And I remember one of my pastor's wives too, who said she used to tell God that she wants celebrity babies. If you see her children, no jokes aside, if you see her kids, sweet children, she was like the celebrity one that when they see their faces. And it's funny because you think that when you make some of these prayers that you might want to term petty or carnal in quotes, but you don't know that you have a father that actually cares.
Yeah,
you know, and he sees these things. Yeah. Yes. Also, emphasizing what she said about children's traits. I remember seeing my little son. What did not reach 2 seconds? If you see the kind of anger that boy used to bring out, I used to ask her, I said, this anger, where is it coming from? Because it will not stay.
Yeah.
So, and it's true. And while she was speaking, I now remember that, that was how there was one time, every time I'm talking about this, and now he's so chilled, rather calm, you know. I had to learn. Now he does thank you. In fact, there's a way you will be angry with him sometimes. You'll be like, sorry, mommy. Sorry, mommy. I'm like, this one. I'm like, he has learned my mumu button. But basically, that just shows us that children actually learn. Yeah. When I found out that my son did not like people, like you have an extrovert, I think at least now he's a bit blended in. Before, he selects who will talk to him. And he has this, somebody said your child's ego is very loud. I say he's a small boy, but I understood what she was saying. You know how when you come to a child, you want to carry him like, my son can literally just, and the way we look at you. Like even you said, people like, is it that thing I did yesterday that this child is seeing in my spirit? So I had to try and make sure that he mingles with others early. I started carrying him to children's church. I started leaving him. I had to do all of those things so that he can be more a bit, you know.
I think that's where the balance comes in.
You know,
I've seen a lot of parents say, oh, I'm praying for my child. I'm praying for my child. Prayer is very good,
Yes, it
but
is.
it's the foundation. There are still lots of things that you
Actions.
have to do. See how you are very intentional now,
Yeah,
bringing him
so I
to
did, though.
open spaces and all
I
those
had
things.
to.
So it doesn't end in prayer. There's also the part where you are going to be hands-on in that child's life, giving that child opportunity, bringing them to environments that will help them express themselves.
True that.
Because even as little as he has, even 2 years old, you can begin to see if a child is inclined to sound.
Yeah. Or
If
a child is very observant. The one that
observant.
pays attention to details.
Yeah.
True.
So someone who from 2, you already know your child loves music. Expose that child to such environments.
And the right kind of songs.
And the right
You
kind
won't
of
expose that
songs.
child to vulgar songs and all of
Yes.
those things.
And then
Amazing.
you
All
begin
right.
to-
Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing, amazing edition. As we wrap up now, is there anything that you want to say? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, so I want to say to parents out there, to mothers, hold God in your right hand and read books. Be informed.
Yeah.
Because most of the issues we face is the issue of ignorance. So be informed, be prepared. Preparation is key, and then be very prayerful.
Praise
You need
God.
prayer in the journey. Thank you.
Yeah. So yes, that's what I would say too. Be prayerful. My mother implicated me with prayer. This life I'm living now, legit, no jokes aside, I really feel like my mother prayed me into this life. Because there were times where then I was a very rebellious teen. I'm not even like my brother is a teenager and I'm seeing the guy, his head is put together. Even when I shout at him, I know that, see, you do worse past this one. I was a very rebellious teen. And as at that time, my mother would see me praying, you will know God, you will seek God, you will chase after God. And me, I'll be saying amen so she can carry her olive oil and leave my forehead. But I genuinely, because it was when I entered school, that was when that whole reality hit me. And the whole God and, God changed my circle, led me to friends like Princess David and a lot of people that actually changed my life and made me a better person. And see what has happened today. So you can actually implicate your child in prayer.
Yeah,
I say that people that do ogboni, when they have access to people's clothes, you see them doing incantation. When they have access to people's head, somebody's making your hair and you don't know what they do incantation. So you have the spirit, the real thing, you can use your words to actually mold your children, mold your home, mold your life. What are you saying, about your current situation, about your child? Don't ever be the parent that will call your child a fool. Don't ever do it. Don't do it.
Don't give up on that child.
I'm saying, don't. Stupid. I remember when I was misbehaving as a teenager, my mother looked at me one day, she said, Satan wants me to curse you, but I won't curse you. And I'm glad she never did. Because maybe, who knows what would have been happening to me today. I did things so. Me that I told my mother, I said sometimes when I think about it, I just like, Mommy, how did you manage me? And that's one of the things with foresight. If you have an understanding of the place of God, because like my mom, I was a very crazy teen because my father was not present. The way I was growing up, we grew up here, I grew up there. I had so many internal battles, so I was just angry with everybody. And I didn't even know. And I was pouring it out on my mother. But my mother was always patient, always kind, always, I don't even know how she did it. And so by the mercies of God, I hope to do more than she did for me in parenting, because truly, parenting is an investment. I remember telling my husband one time, I said, this child is struggling to say, excuse me. So let's see how we can be saying the excuse me a lot more. And we noticed that when we started saying it a lot more, he too started saying it.
Yeah.
So we will always deposit, what we consist of.
Yeah.
May God help us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
This is where we get to call it a wrap on this episode. Thank you so much for staying true. Bye for now. Let's do a kiss.
Bye for now.
Remember, transformation is in action. See you next time.